one sees that, no one knows that. And that's the managing things away from boxing is sometimes the hardest part. And if he's dealt with that side, Barry, you know, you've been there yourself.
I wanted to ask you, Anthony, you just mentioned versions. What version do you know? Do you know yourself now more than ever before? You create the opportunities rather than wait for the opportunities to stop it, Do you think this is the best version of you because of the experiences you've had? Or?
I think so. I think it is definitely the best version of me so far, or to this date. Because again, what you said, experience. Like, I feel like if I fought Kovalev now, I'll beat him. Yeah. If I even better beat him, even though it wasn't that long ago, I feel like if I fight him again, I'll beat him. Again, I was ahead on the scorecard. I got caught with a shot because I got fatigued and I kept playing. I started playing into his game. So again, experience plays a massive part, a massive, massive part.
Anthony, we look forward to hearing more from you at tomorrow's press conference. We wish you the best of luck.
Thank you,
on
man.
Saturday night.
Come on.
Top man, a fired up Anthony Yard. Well, there you go, gents. That answered our question. That one apiece was eating away Anthony Yard.
You could feel it off him as well, couldn't you?
He's up
frustrated that loss, that he doesn't feel like it's a genuine loss.
Because when I said that in the build-up, I thought, it must eat, because I've been in them positions, it used to eat away at me. I'm better than this guy, how's he beat me? But when you listen to the, not excuses because they're valid reasons, but when you listen to the valid reasons, what's going on in someone's life in the background, listen, it's hard.
And that was real, but that's true, by the way. It's not
he lost a lot of people.
Just to talk about pressure now for this young man here.
Here we go then, Conor Benn. One half of Saturday's main event. Says he has a huge chip on his shoulder, a massive point to prove. You've been around him, Tony, since the start of his journey. That point to prove, that chip on the shoulder, is that something that's not really changed?
You know what, we laugh and we joke with together. He says I'm the angriest man he knows, and I say I must be second after you. But he's such a lovely, kind-hearted young man. I've got a lot of love for Conor. Listen, and I've got an awful lot of respect for Chris Eubank Jr. I just think this young lad's been through so much, and when he gets in that ring, it's time to show it and let it go. I just hope he can control them emotions that are going through his body when it comes to Saturday night, because that, in my opinion, will be the definitive factor on Saturday night. Who can control them emotions the best? And that doesn't mean that he doesn't go nuts and let his hands go. That might be what he's training, that might be the game plan. But whatever he's been training for, he's got to follow it exactly to the book. Exactly to the book.
There's a lot of similarities when we talk about proving doubt was wrong, isn't there, between these two guys, between Chris and Conor, Barry?
Yeah, of course it is. I mean, I tell you what though, let's go back to his dad about proving people wrong, because his dad, before he boxed Eubank the first time, got beat by Michael Watson. Now Eubank was Nigel Benn was destroying everybody. The angriest man you've ever met in your life. He used to scream when he knocked him out. He was loved and hated in equal measure by boxing fans, but everyone wanted to watch him. And then when he boxed Michael Watson covered up and then just weathered the storm and then stopped him quite easily in the end. Knocked him over the jab because he was exhausted. Nigel Benn went to America and rebuilt. He beat Doug DeWitt for the WBO title. He brought the WBO title over to the UK pretty much by himself. But then he also beat Iran Barkley in the States. He came back then, he rebuilt, he came back, he proved the people wrong. And then when he boxed Chris Eubank Sr., who was a massive underdog at the time, he just followed a character who was totally polarising. And Eubank Sr. was a massive underdog. No one gave him a chance against Nigel Benn. And they produced one of the best fights the British ring have ever seen. That's the truth of it. But Eubank prevailed on his chin and his smarts. Now, what Conor has to do in this fight is be massively aggressive, massively angry. I keep saying it. He has to be that, but it has to be effective aggression. He can't be wild with it. Otherwise, he'll pay the price. He will be exhausted after 7-8 rounds if he doesn't get it right. But if he gets it right, you got an older man there who doesn't punch like he used to, and he could get him on the heels, under pressure, and maybe panicking, and maybe get that stoppage. But I think it's a big ask for him. I really do.
You mentioned that Iran Barkley fight. That was just down the road from where Conor Benn had his last fight, of course.
Yeah.
And he went 12 rounds for the first time. And look, he said he wanted to knock Peter Dobson out in one round. But the fact he went the full 36 minutes, do you think that'll be something he's pretty happy with now headed into this week?
No, not really, because they're just average performances. Listen, we can't dress up, just got to tell you as it is. They were average performances, and they went to the high standard he'd been setting beforehand. But ultimately, he won. And when you're winning on not good nights, it tells you everything you need to know about the fighter. If you can win on average nights, and win well, as he done. Wasn't a good performance, like I said, it was average, but he won well. You know, it wasn't close.
You know, my trainer used to have a saying. He's from Trinidad, and he used to say, better to win ugly than to lose pretty. So ultimately, winning is everything. So, and Tony's right. Once you win, winning is an art in itself, and it's a habit, by the way. So you know, because it changes your mind. You know what? Even when you don't win, even when you box underperform, and you still get that win, it means you can find your way through.
Believe you me, when he gets in the ring on Saturday night, he will be so sharp. It will be like it's two different people. What was in against Dobson and what's in again in the last two, but it will be it's a different animal. He'll be so sharp, so reactive. So his whole world is on this fight. And it's also the same with Chris Eubank Jr. The whole lives have brought them to this moment. Listen, no matter what they do after this, right, if they go on to win world title out, what? They're going to be remembered for what happens on Saturday night. This is their defining moment in their whole career. And it's very rare you can say that about a fighter that before it's happened, that you know this is their defining moment. I knew when mine was. Barry will have known when his was. He might not want to think it is right now. I might believe it, but believe you me, this is both their defining moments on Saturday night.
It's interesting to see what he's doing here. Because I've been saying for the last few days, well,
that's what you've been saying.
How important it is to stay low. Yeah. But staying low takes a lot of energy because it's all your legs. You've got to bend those legs and engage those big muscles in your body. But to stay low gives you the opportunity to do this.
So explosive, Barry.
Like, there's a semicircle on the front of your body. So that's the area you have to master to win the fight. And for Conor to stay low and move around that semicircle in front of the body is going to be so important for him, because that won't allow Chris Jr. to set his feet. And with that means Conor can unload with his punches in a relatively safe place. Plus the angle of looking up, which means he can punch through the middle and use those legs to come through the shots rather than just throw the arms. And to do that, he'll knock Chris off balance.
So sharp. So sharp. And I don't say that because of the punches, because he's put nothing in them punches. It's the movement, it's the fluidity and the explosiveness off the legs. Like Barry talked about, it's so hard to get low. Mike Tyson used to do it perfectly, and against bigger guys you need to do it now. He goes in there with the Tyson approach. It's intriguing, and like I said before, Chris Eubank ain't holding this boy off for 6 rounds. The question for me is, can you absorb what he's going to give you in 6 rounds? That's the question.
But if he can't get Chris out there early, he has to do the hard work, but he is going to tire. But guaranteed, if he's going to do that, go low and explode in the shot, then Conor's going to tire. That's guaranteed.
No one can do it for 12.
But he's got to hope that his punches or his aggression and his pressure tires Chris with him. Now, if he can do that, tire Chris also, then they're pretty much at the same level, so he can go out and be more successful. But if he can't tire Chris, if he can't intimidate him with the pressure, if the punches can't hurt him or make him panic, then after 7 rounds it does become a fight of 2 halves.
Do you think Chris can get tired in this fight?
Most definitely.
You can tire him out just by being on him.
Chris can't throw the punches he used to before. He has to box in spurts more. He always did, but more than ever before. He can't throw 15 punches anymore. You got to throw in 4s and 3s.
How many rounds do you think Conor Benn can be relentless for out of 12? 8, 9?
Well, I think
young.
He is young, but the way he explodes, and a bigger guy who could have maybe absorbed the shots, maybe not around the face, just around the body in general. If we're talking about bigger guys, they tend to swallow the punches a little bit better, and it depends how hard Conor hits, by the way, and that's the thing.
How do you expect the power to carry up then? I
don't think
that's been the big question.
It's not the one-shot power for me; it's the explosiveness of the shot. You won't see the shot, and that for me is more than any amount of power. If you don't see it, you're just Jay. You've got to understand. Like, you've got no say. If you get hit with a punch you don't see, literally 2.5 pounds of square pressure on the right point, you go down. Like, that's not my opinion, that's science. See, if it hits the right point, you just drop. Like, you open your eyes, your gloves are on the floor, you're down. And that's happened to me on a number of occasions, but I just think Chris Eubank Jr. is not going to hold them off.
But I can't see what Conor do. See, Liam Smith backed Eubank against the ropes because Liam Smith's a more intimidating figure, because he puts his chest over the front foot and he'll feint, but he'll slide forward and the front foot puts you under pressure. I'm not sure Conor doesn't have the same smarts as Liam Smith, in my opinion, so he's going to have to explode into shots. So I'm not sure how he can get him back into the ropes, because he had to jump into his attacks, which puts Chris on the back foot. but it allows Chris to spin off and get back into the centre of the ring, possibly. Possibly. This is all like theoretically, we haven't got a clue.
One half of your main event, brought to you by Ring Magazine. Fatal Fury, City of the Wolves. Conor Benn makes his way into the studio. Your braces, Tony Bellew. Conor, how are you, sir?
Yeah, good, mate. You?
Good to see you, mate. Very, very well. Beard's looking fantastic. Big smile on your face. How are you enjoying the whole occasion?
Mate, just lapping up. I'm enjoying it, man. Excited to be here. Excited to be back on these shores, man.
In terms of the energy that's come your way in the whole build-up, how have you dealt with that and all the verbals that have come from that man? If looks good, kill, by the way. But how have you dealt with all the energy that has come from Chris Eubank Jr.?
I don't think anything of it. I don't think nothing of it at all. You know, he's an opponent. That's it.
Barry?
Conor, we talk about fights like this. You know, all the training goes right for both. That you're fit and as strong as you could possibly be. It's pressure. Cope with pressure. How do you deal with that with yourself? Do you have some sort of mantra?
You'll know what pressure is. A 19-year-old kid moving from Australia to the UK, walking out to a packed O2 arena with no amateur background. That's pressure.
So do you draw on that?
Yeah, I mean, listen, ultimately every fighter dreams of getting to this stage.
Yeah.
You know, and I've worked extremely hard. This isn't 6 months' work. This isn't 6 weeks' work. This is 10 years. You know, and I've done it too many times now for it to be an accident or be a chance. This is who I am. I live for this, you know. So for me, I don't feel no pressure at all. You know, I'm going to go in there and do what I do.
How itching are you, Conor, to get in the ring on Saturday night?
Yeah, I mean, I wish I was fighting tonight. But it's just one of them things where this is all now just long. And I just want to get in there now. That's it, really, man.
We spoke to Eubank yesterday. You won't care what he says, but all he was saying was the procedure will be parliamentary, that he's a better fighter than you in every single department. This win on Saturday, truly, if all goes to plan for you, have you thought about that emotion and truly what this victory will mean to you and to the Benns?
I don't know what the question is, but I'll get hold of him at some stage. No, I'll get hold of him at some stage. I just didn't understand the question. No, ultimately, he's going to get it regardless.
Tony, in terms of this matchup, what are the big questions for you on Saturday night?
He's going to get to him, and you've got to be able to deal with what he's throwing, because he's going to be there. Like, people have said to me, what's this fight going to be like? And I've said, it can't be nothing but exciting, because Conor will go in and he will let his hands go, and there is nowhere to hide. And like I've said before, Chris has made out now that, you know, it's the second coming of him. He's a great boxer. He's actually not the best boxer. He's a better fighter than he is boxer. But that plays right into Conor's hands. For Conor, it's a case of get at him. Get at him and do what you've done in camp. He knows what he's done. He knows what he's ready for. And it all leads to this. Both of these know what's at stake on Saturday night. And I believe both are in fantastic shape. And it's just, listen, we all cannot wait now. And no one more so than Conor, no one more so than Chris. They both want to get their hands on each other. Conor's been waiting for a long time, and it's now finally here.
I tell you what though, Conor, you've got to be thinking, I know you're focused on the fight, but you've got to be thinking this is mad. You know, like a stadium fight, all this stuff.
Do you know what it is?
Different level.
Do you know what it is? 10 years ago, when I first turned pro, did I ever think I'd end up here? Nah. You know, but I am here. I'm built for it. I feel ready for it. I'm loving the challenge of fighting at 160. I'm loving the competition. You thrive off challenges. As a fighter, people are going to me, oh, are you not worried? Oh, are you know, how are you going to deal with it? You know, this is what I do. I prepare for this. I do everything I possibly can in the gym, in training, that fills me with confidence.
Yeah, but the fight stuff, no, I mean, I don't doubt that for a second. Fighting's fighting, and you know what to do. But I mean, just the whole...
The occasion.
This is different. This is not even just pressure of a world title fight. This is bigger than that. It's not, I mean, you know what I mean? The whole media and everything else is just 24/7. It's got, I mean, I'm saying it's too much. I'm just saying how crazy it must feel.
And Saturday's going to be mega.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, it's another fight. That's how I'm looking at it. Is another opponent in my way, trying to crush my dreams, trying to take food off my plate and trying to render me unconscious. That's how I look at him.
What about the buzz?
Oh yeah, no doubt. No doubt. No doubt. I'll be like ready to go. Do you know what I mean? Like I get going, but I get myself going.
No, do you know what? You said something really good. People said about you being angry. Once you got under your skin, you look angry, and you said, "I'm angry all the time. This is me." I'm like,
it's always personal. When you get to know me, you'll realise I'm not angry all the time.
No.
But when it comes down to fighting, it's always personal.
But I was around when your dad boxed Chris. I boxed on the undercard of the second fight, of course. But I mean, like, seeing you got your dad angry, but your dad was better angry. And then he could control his anger and make it effective.
You know what? When I say to my sparring partners before I spar them, I'll say, well, just work lightly. After the spar, they go lightly. But that's just the way I am.
Yeah.
It's the intensity. It's the I can't not punch without intensity.
You've been harnessing and using your advantage.
I can't.
Yeah.
I have to fight.
Do you think that's your superpower, that you can always get to that moment of I give it my all?
Yeah, every time.
It's not as easy as it sounds.
I don't. Every session for me is a session. I have no bad days. That's my theme for the camps. No bad sessions. Because I'm never getting that day back. Yes. You know when I wake up and I'm tired and I'm exhausted and I get to the gym and the numbers aren't adding up. Those are the sessions that count. And
do you know what, boys? And Tony will know this. The night before the fight is when you lose the fight. And I'll tell you why, because if you skip training, something hasn't gone right, you've got an issue, when you go to bed, you can't sleep. And because of the fight itself. But if anything's wrong, that doubt creeps in. But if you've prepared like he's talking about, there is no doubt.
That's why he's so confident.
Yes,
that's why he has the. He knows what he's gone through. What he's gone through. I'm sorry, but getting in there's nothing. What he's gone through, what he's been through, it's nothing. It's a privilege. It's excitement. He's going to walk to the ring. He's going to be excited because what he's gone through in camp is horrific. What your body goes through, it's unbelievable. So, Conor, people ask me why the fighters are so confident. It's not cocky. You just know what you've done in the build-up. You know what you've gone through, and that's what gives you the levels of confidence.
Am I supposed to go in there
exactly.
and go? I'm not sure, No, you don't.
I don't know.
It happens to fighters, though. It does.
Yeah, I thrive off the fear of losing.
Yeah.
That's what gets me out of bed. You know, when I get up and do them mad runs, I make the sparring harder for me because I know I've run 10k. They're fresh, but I don't want to lose.
But you know what you do? And it's almost like that paranoia that boxers have. You take everything and you turn it round to like, yeah, I'll prove you wrong. I said to you once before, I said not to you, I said to someone, Conor's the most improved fighter in the country. And you took that as a negative. And I was like, what were you talking about?
Have you managed to do that?
And you said, because you're telling me that I wasn't very good. And I was like, no.
Well, I wasn't really good, so you wouldn't be lying.
That's what I said to you, and I'm scared to say it. But what I mean is, though, I think that's one of your qualities, that you sort of take anything and make it so makes you work harder.
You know what, whatever gets me out of bed in the morning, whatever makes me, someone's gone to me, why don't you just love winning? Because that's not what gets me out of bed. I fear losing to another man. That's what gets me out of bed. Whatever it is, whatever makes you tick. I could say you said something, you never said it.
Yeah.
But it gets me going, so you said it. That's just shit.
Michael Jordan was the master at it.
Yeah. Is that what he done?
Yeah, he created enemies that were never his enemies.
Oh,
He created, he used to say that they said that about me, he never said it, but in his mind, he believed it, so he went on the court and he wants to do them even more.
That's how I think. So what, you said that, what, you think I can't win? Watch me. Watch. Everyone's saying I can't count to 160 bit. Watch me. I'll do it, because you lot can't do it, because that's your mentality. I'll do it. And I'll show you.
Conor, what's your dad said to you this week? He's been a massive part of the camp and a big figure here in Fight Week for you as well. What's he said?
No, my dad's just taking it all in, man. I've got a good team, my trainer, my S&C coach, head of performance, chef. I've got everyone here. I've got assistant coach, everyone's here watching me work and pushing me to the limits as much as I physically can.
At this stage of the week, how does the body feel? Obviously the Dobson fight at 150 pounds. How do you feel now?
Yeah, no, I feel good.
You're able to train and eat. I mean, you still got to lose weight, but I mean, you're in a position where you can train better now, because you don't have to starve yourself down to an unnatural weight, which I would imagine 147 was.
147. I will drop back down to 147.
Is that the plan?
I will drop back down to 147. Yeah, no doubt.
How do you feel, Conor? How's it been adapting sparring with the partners that you've had? You've had bigger boys, and how's it felt? I know you've always had bigger boys. You've sparred the light heavyweights consistently through your career, but has this felt, you know, you're not. It's never an insane struggle to get down to welterweight, but it's hard.
It's hard, but I'm enjoying not having to kill myself on dieting, you know. But ultimately, I've adapted well to the sparring, you know, use my advantages rather than me trying to match their strength or their size. Use what I got, which is
fight to your strengths.
Which is, yeah, exactly.
What I meant earlier, Conor, when I was talking about visualising the victory, what makes this such a personal and important fight for you on Saturday?
Well, number one, I don't like him.
Sure.
Hide it so well.
Yeah. Two, obviously, the family feud, the family name. It's always personal, you know, always.
Conor, taking off the not the anger, but taking off I don't like him. What do you think he does well? If you had to paint one attribute or one picture, what does he do well?
He's got experience.
That's it.
He's got experience, and he's bigger. Okay. He's athletic. That's as far as I go with it.
Why haven't you minded giving the game plan away? Because I've watched you in interviews.
There ain't no game plan. Come in there, take his head off. That's the game plan.
That's it.
I've been saying that you staying low is such an advantage because you can slide in the distance and you've got a big view of the target. And I saw you in the ring there, just a few little moves where you really engage in your legs. Is that something you've been working on? You're not going to tell us.
I fight the way I fight.
I said, as me and Barry were talking earlier, and I said, do you know what the big thing is? How intense and for how long can Conor be? So it's impossible to be.
This is where I can do that for 12.
I just think you don't lose a single round then.
I promise you, I can do that for 12.
If he can throw 100 punches and like 100 punches around with the intensity and velocity, he will not lose a round.
I wouldn't go 100 punches around. No, but when I do throw, they're intense. When I do throw, they're fast. I ask all my team when I'm sparring, in the 12th round, as I am intense, because that's what matters. I want to look like it's my first round, and that's what I really drilled myself into. When I'm seeing these fighters blowing after 4-6 rounds, I'm like, what have you been doing? What training have you been doing?
This is why we said before about people in silk pajamas. I said you were born in silk pajamas, and the fact that you want to go to the gym and put yourself through that, I give you both so much credit, because me and Barry, we come from tough, rough places, and you found yourself in this predicament. You put yourself there. You chose this.
Yeah, I still think I'm mad.
No, you're not. I told you from day one. You're
living a nice life over in Australia.
Mate, I still question why I'm not over there. Drinks on
no,
the old
but you're here.
You're
here. And you do the work, Conor.
No tattoos, things have changed a lot.
I'm done now, I'm done.
Yeah? You do the work, champ.
Conor Benn, best of luck to you on Saturday night. Thanks very much for speaking to us. Let's turn our attention then to the man in the ring. Listen, I just saw a little glimmer in the eye of Conor Benn. Look, he's fired up, we know he is, but when you talk to him about the occasion, there was just a little rise smile.
When he says, I can do that for 12 rounds, and listen, look in his eyes, he genuinely believes. So I promise you, watch the speed he comes out on Saturday.
Of course, I would say one thing about dictating pace is important, but boxing at a high pace doesn't mean you're going to last. Because I tell you about people don't understand about dictating pace. When you go for a run with somebody, it's not always the fact. If you go to someone else's pace who runs slower than you, it kills you, it knackers you out. So if Eubank can slow him down, then that's harder for Conor than he's boxing 100 miles an hour, because he wants to box at a high pace and be in control of it. So it's all about punching when you want to punch. So punching when you want to, rather than punch out of necessity. That means you have to take a different breath, you have irregular breathing, and that slows you down. When you're having to set yourself to throw, and in your own mindset, it's easier because you can get ready to take a deep breath and excel with your punches. But when you're forced to punch, you can't get your breathing right. So dictating the pace. So if he can go out there and take the pace at a high pace and make Chris feel it, that's fine. But if Chris can slow him down, then Conor's going to struggle. He can't do that for 12 rounds.
What do you make of him saying there's no game plan? I'm coming in there to take his head off.
Listen, there is a game plan, but I mean, game plans I think people go over with game plans and they go overboard with them. A game plan in boxing has to be very fluid because so many things can happen and go wrong. It's like people say a game plan, I'll lose the first 6 rounds because I know you're tired and then I'll win the next 6. But what if he doesn't tire? And what if he tires after 7? And what if he can run away and then you've lost 7 rounds and you won 5, but he's won the fight. So you've got to try and win every round. That's the first and foremost. Game plans should never be set in stone.
Let me ask you this question, Tony, because you asked Conor and he just looked off into the distance when you said, what does this man do well? All he drew on was the experience of Chris Eubank Jr. In your opinion, what does this man do well?
He moves quite well. He's in control of himself. That is his greatest asset. He's always in control. He never lets the mask slip. He's always in control, and like I've just seen him then. He's hitting back with Jonathan Banks, and he just said to Jonathan Banks, go on the side, and he just told his fella put the body bag on. Now, I'm sorry, but that doesn't sit right with me.
I'm not a fan. I think the trainer, I've said this in the week.
The trainer calls the shot.
That's what the trainer has to be your gone, pretty much. He can charge your life with training camp. That's what it should be. But he's had a whole career this way, though. I would say that, Tony. So, and a relatively successful career.
And it works for him, to be fair. I don't know where Ronnie Davis is tonight.
But it falls short at the top level he has. That's the truth of it.
But the fact of it is, he's just not good enough, Barry. He's not good enough at the top level. Now, we don't know with Conor yet because Conor's still undefeated. But we do know Chris's level. And there's opportunities he's had, like the Hamza Shiraz fights there for him. The other fights were there for him, and he hasn't took them. So, but I get 100% why he should have took this fight, because as fighters, we're called prize fighters for a reason, and this was the biggest prize. I'm sorry, by a mile.
Of course, financially he's done the right thing, but let's go back to remember Anthony Yardley, Kovalev, and not taking that step aside money. I mean, you have to remember what you wanted to be when you were a kid. It wasn't a billionaire and a millionaire. It wasn't to be on a celebrity. No, but seriously, no, I'm joking aside, but honestly, you can beat me up later. It was. We wanted to be champions, whether it was British, world, whatever. We had aspirations of what we could be, but we wanted to be champions. That's all we cared about. And you have to, and you have
that same mentality.
No, I don't think he does, but I think it hasn't affected his skill set. He is what he is. What he does do, he has a fluid jab when he throws it. His right-hand counter can be a really, really decent weapon. But he doesn't throw punches like he used to.
I think he's got
the same engine.
I think he's a decent body puncher.
I think he does a lot of things well. But
what I will say is, from where he was when he started this business to where he is now, he's a vastly improved fighter, because he was a raw novice and done novice things when he first turned pro.
Yeah, he was for sure.
Where he is now.
We're walking into the studio now. Obviously, we are out of vision currently. His boxers, Mr. Ben Shalom. Ben, here we go.
This is Team Conor Benn.
No.
I picked Chris.
I say it as I see it, and I just think it's all about what he can absorb in them first 6. If he is still around after 6 rounds, this fight for me, the tide starts turning. But like I just said to Conor, and I said to him, how long and how intense can you be? And he said, he stopped me just before he got there. He said, Tone, I can do it for 12 rounds. And if he can, I don't know how he keeps him off.
Make your case, Ben, for your man.
How do you think Chris is going to react when Conor flies at him? Because we all know how he's going to fly at him, but do you really think Chris goes on the back foot?
I actually think Chris is a better fighter than he is boxer. I've always thought that.
Correct. So do you not think he's going to meet fire with fire?
But going on the last 7